You're reporting.
Good evening and welcome to our guests for the September 8th school board meeting. Let's begin by saying pledge of allegiance.
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll start with our public input statement. The first public input session is a 21-minute session, with each person having no longer than 3 minutes in which to make a statement. But a second public input session may be held at the end of the meeting if allowed by the board chair. The speaker will give his or her name, address, and reason for speaking. Public input is designated for district residents, but the board chair may grant non-residents the opportunity to address the board. Statements concerning subject matter that falls under the law regarding executive sessions, for example, matters involving personnel, cannot be made during the public input. Do we have anybody who would like to make public input this evening? Don't see any. So let's move on to the minutes of August 30th. Does anybody have any updates for those?
One correction.
Oh,
I wonder if it's the same one.
goals should be gold.
I was actually going with Candy, so she's got a different one.
But the person's goals is.
Okay.
The goals are, but is, and I believe his name is spelled correctly.
Okay. And next, right now. And there's a Stephanie, so Ms. A. I actually like staying with Stephanie, but you know,
No.
keeping with the format.
Yeah, so, yeah, gotcha. Okay, fix that. All right, thank you. And where's the second? Yeah, there it is. Yes. Okay, perfect.
Any other input?
In that stuff, they said, what we're adding that I followed it up with that there were no issues regarding attendance to medical issues.
Oh.
We have that in. And then on the same note, back with the French teacher who doesn't work, it's kind of side comments, I don't know, but adding in something about it, like discuss the possibility of district policy regarding travel, district travel or like something like that.
I think it was more guidelines.
Like, yeah, guidelines, like I know.
Right.
Adding it back.
Thank you. It's helpful when you guys actually. Truthfully. Thank you.
Do we have a motion to approve the minutes as amended? Second? Ethel. Motion's passed. We have to vote. Oh, we have to vote. So, all those in favor of approving the minutes?
And then extensions.
Now the motion is passed. And I'm turn this over to Dr. and see for some opening day.
Oh, it's been a great opening. I want to knock on wood or something, but everybody's worked really, really hard. Transportation has been great. We had a bus drive that we talked about last time we met last week about going in for a test, has passed the test. So we'll add in a driver through the routes next week, hopefully. And everybody's just really stepped up in the transportation department and just pitching. And on our end, what we've seen is that it's just been very efficient and effective. We haven't had buses coming in super late. Some years we have them coming in closer to 6 o'clock. In the beginning, while we straighten things out. Lebanon is, so spread out that we really looked at Lebanon and Heather LaFrance said on the first day of school, they were in at 450, which was like very, very good. So we're very pleased and fortunate with that. We've had 4 open houses. We started in West Berwick last Thursday night, and that was super well attended, and it was great to have it for school. Parents, students were just thrilled to be there, and I can echo that for last night was Huzzy and Bolton schools, really well attended as well. Some of the second grade parents had never been in Huzzy in person because of last year and they, so they walked in and it was like, wow, you know, so the buildings all look great. High school just had their open house. I think it was pretty hearty attendance, the high school, and again, the building looks good, everybody was excited. The SRTC, State Regional Technical Center, still is going really well. We're still getting the transportation there and back. That's always a piece. So from my vantage point, I think for yours as well. It's something that I do want to go through enrollment, so I did print it out just so you can see the numbers.
Okay. I think I have. Thank you. Here, keep one for us in case. Okay.
So we will, this was as of the first days. And things shake out a little bit over the next month, so we'll bring enrollment back in the October. That gives us a more accurate kind of picture, because we have some students who haven't shown up, that maybe have moved, that we haven't received their records yet. So we will have a better, not better, but we'll have a different enrollment update in October to go through with you. So we are down 2% from last year. Last year in June, we ended at 2,997 students. We're at 2,900. So we're a little down. You can see that North Berwick is down because the students went over to Milton School fifth grade. So these are their numbers by three grade classes. So other than that, I'm just trying to look where our numbers. Yeah.
Would you try that 2% in any particular category, like elementary, middle, or high school, or just comes across the board?
I think I would say it's across the board as I look at this. Lebanon Elementary's up a little bit, but the high school's down. Middle school's down, North Berwick is down, Lebanon Elementary's up. Hanson is up, yeah, and Huzzy's down. So it's a smattering.
I don't know if it's a particular time. I look at Huzzy, Berwick is more.
It's
It's
down
down.
because that middle school, you don't know. if-
Right now, school, high schools are going to be done by then. I mean, theoretically though, we could probably figure it out. So that might be something to kind of poke around. But always interested to see this.
And we will have homeschooling information in October too. We'll bring that forward to what that.
That doesn't take into account the number of kids at the,
Those are actually
They are
included.
included.
Oh, they are,
yes.
Virtual kids are included in the middle and high school numbers.
Okay.
There isn't a separate school for them. I mean, it just says remote.
Didn't see a lot of tears, other than a couple of parents. I was driving to Lebanon in the morning, a parent was putting her child on the bus and it was all brave and everything, and then the bus drove off, and she was like, you know, it is what it is, and we absolutely love school, like, you know, just that all those transitions and celebrations. Is that anything else you want?
I really feel like, the vibe is really positive throughout the district, and it's not, the other thing to note is that is common across when we're talking to other school systems. We're feeling much more, right, last year was a really tough, and this year's kids are pretty, they're dialed in already, the expectations are pretty clear, and there's no, it doesn't feel like there's a big pushback. So there's some subtle comments, which is great.
3 days.
Well,
We got it right at the beginning.
it was not, it was right off the bat.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, the very first day of school was really, and, just think about sort of the atmosphere of the world at large and the fact that we are not, we're not having conversations about to mask or not to mask.
Yeah.
So all of that stuff that sort of riles up the whole society trickles down to the kids and kids are feeling. For now, that is it. Just like you said, 3 days.
I have heard just a little tiny bit of feedback, which I think is the same thing we hear every year, but a little bit of confusion around, first start day at the high school. And I think what happens is people get like district communication, which is like first day of school is Tuesday, whatever it was. But then that didn't include like the rolling start days for the high school, so I have a number of people, at least someone's reaching out, what's the first day of school? Like, I don't know, let me check, like, I don't remember, but the confusion is the kids come home and they're like, no, it's Wednesday, and the parents are like, no, I'm looking at this and it says Tuesday. So I don't know how to get around that, because I think there's district communication, which is one thing, and then, so I feel like it comes up every year. I don't know if we can like put it on the radar now for a year from now, is to just do a little extra communicating for the kids that have kind of those different start dates at high school.
I do.
Paragraph.
Yeah, well, it is clear, like, the actual high school sends out multiple schedules, levels, very clearly trying to explain that, but if your head is set on the first day of school.
And we found it in our calendar, so,
Yeah, so we'll
It's-
figure it out.
yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I heard, it's like, I've heard multiple times that it's this day, but now I'm hearing it's, okay. So,
I have something else, but I think it's under other.
I'm very grateful to hear that it seems like a calmer atmosphere. It's really nice.
Kudos to you and all of the staff for pulling it off. Yeah. It's definitely very positive. So our next item on the agenda is the second reading of the special ed independent evaluation policy.
Good work.
It's not 100%, I'm sorry to say. So, we met yesterday. And one of the things, I have hard copies if you would like them on the. Let's see. This is one packet. So I'm passing it out as packets because I did not sleep. What we did from the last meeting, and stuff we feel free to jump in, feel free to jump in. What we did from our last meeting was we went in and just looked at it at the committee level. We changed into MSA 60. We had we needed clarification on a part of it, which was, I think it was, that was one part. Before that, fourth or sixth? Fourth. The fourth paragraph, I think it was. We just needed clarification on the fourth paragraph because it was a little confusing in that it said that we can require parents to give us, we can ask parents the reason why they want an independent study, but then it said that they weren't required to provide us information about that. So when I talked with our special education department, that was because it's in the special education regulations, and that's how it's worded. Right, that require exactly as it's worded, is it how it's worded in the regulations. So we can't insist that we get an answer. We can ask. And then the other thing that came up was on 2E. Just the committee wanted to have more clarification on what the costs were per evaluation, like a speech evaluation, or if it would be, any other application therapy, more of a full, psychiatric kind of thing, or whatever it would be. And, again, we started working on that this morning, from the special ed department, and we don't have those numbers in quite yet, because they have to kind of look at the rates and then look at some of the practitioners or, providers that we work with, so I can bring that forward next time. So those are the changes thus far.
Are you
Yeah.
suggesting that we put an actual dollar amount in here?
Yeah. Isn't that something that we would have to be updating constantly?
Yeah.
But we can also talk about language that says, like the,
Like the
Yearly
Medicaid
rate
rate ceiling
increase,
doesn't
yeah.
cover it as it is?
I don't,
Well, when I spoke with Kristen, she said that in previous districts, they have had those guidelines. And it
With the dollar
changes, right, as we talked about, maybe doing a range, like from such and such to no more than such and such. So it gives you a couple of years, so there are increases in fees.
I can only said that because of choices from, like, if somebody picks from somewhere down in Massachusetts and it could be a lot more than what we pay up here. I think that's what my history was.
well, maybe we can talk about, once we get the rates, we can actually talk about how to actually finesse the language, so that it doesn't have to be changed regularly, but we can figure it out. There's a couple, right, so, yeah, there's a couple of things that we need to run the table for next time.
So we will get that information in what we will cover to incorporate that. So that we're not having to change it every year or every 6 months.
I have one question on that paragraph number 4 on the last page.
So
it says they can't get an individual evaluation in something the school has already evaluated the child on.
Is that number 4 on the 3rd page?
Yes.
Is that where you are?
Yeah. So, well, I don't know, because it sounds like, okay, so we evaluated his reading, but they don't now want his now to be evaluated. They want it. But that's how it works, if we have to get the school evaluation first.
Yes.
And then,
They can request a, like, if we go through a conversation and we have a literacy eval or whatever, and then they come back and they say, yeah, but I really like some information about that. You can't just go out and get it.
Right,
No,
so you
you
guys
have
have
to
to
provide
go
it.
first.
Yeah. They have to give us the opportunity.
More to come on that.
and then the next
Work in
one,
progress. Yeah, the work in progress. The next one is the statement of respect during the public input. It's a little. So we did tweak up, so again, Mary Gannon, when she was here, we had our work this summer, there was a portion of what she had posted as part of her presentation to us that like the idea of just going to a statement of respect. So we shared one last week, we got feedback, and then this is incorporating some of the feedback that we had last week.
add something to the effect of, we acknowledge that we are here at this meeting because we care about our students and community.
Your board, you guys can make that decision. Think about it.
Where are we going to, where is this going to, how is it going to be presented, or where is it going to be presented?
I think it was thought to be in 2 places. One is under public input before, like right at the bottom of public input, and then somewhere on our agenda as well.
That we put out.
Yes,
We haven't, we need to update our Gimlet anyways, but like our.
So my only thought, and I mean, I think that's a fair statement, although I don't know if we can necessarily say why people are here, but my only thought, and I think we discussed this a little bit last time, is to sort of expand on the we a little bit.
Yeah.
So you could say we, the board and the public, or the board and the community.
all the people participating in this meeting pledged. So that it's not just the board, this is what we're gonna do, it's also the public, All cheers.
All those ones.
And I mean, Kate, you could easily say, you know,
You could also
there's
say,
agreement that something about move forward with respect, and let's move forward with respect and, I don't know, federation of the children, or something, I don't know, something like along the lines of what you're saying, but, if you wanted to include that, one of them, it's sort of what the goal of the meeting is.
How about we put students first and pledge to move forward with respect in that last sentence.
What did you have?
I was just thinking, we could do the we, like in the beginning, say we as a community pledge to treat everyone on all on.
Yeah,
as a community.
Yeah.
That's good. It's.
Has all three communities.
And that, yeah, right, and that defines.
So I'm gonna read it out loud. We, as a community, pledge to treat each other as we wish to be treated. We pledge to seek understanding when there may be disagreement. Regardless of outcomes or opinions, we pledge to move forward with respect.
What about putting
Pledge to put students first and move forward with respect.
Maybe we can do a
It's a
student
little
thing.
tough because
That's the-
technically it's our community, in MSAD 60 is the students, the staff, you know,
our school community?
our school community, maybe. Sorry.
That's okay.
Well, the
Forgot.
definition is. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so, yeah, students first is kind of our thing. Kids first.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if we're getting a little too detailed, and like, so it is true that I just. I don't know, because I think we go down quite a few rabbit holes.
I think the longer you make it, the more you dilute.
I'm fine with it like this if we add the community part.
Yeah.
So that everybody knows that it applies to them. Yeah.
So we, as a community, pledge to treat each other as we wish to be treated. We pledge to seek understanding when there may be disagreement, regardless of outcomes or opinions. We pledge to move forward.
That's really very good.
Yeah, I like that.
All right,
So do we have a motion to approve as amended? The statement is amended.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
So can we, maybe as a next step, did somebody say that we have to do a little revision to the,
Yes, every year we do that.
yeah, so let's maybe, we'll just add it to sometime soon, we'll add this and then we'll do another little look.
we can
over.
also do something, like we can do something in there regarding the priorities of the.
Might already be there.
It might be,
Yeah.
you know,
What were we talking about?
in this document,
Pamphlet?
the pamphlet that we have to put out, yeah, which we need to make more copies of. So we'll update that and bring it back to you guys to feedback.
Can we link to that in the agendas? I mean, yeah.
I think I have it. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Moving on to number 6. We met today with, ventilation company and heard their proposal for updating several projects within the school district.
Yeah, so we can talk about it, yep. So we had to put out a call for qualifications in order to use some of the ESSER funds that we've been gifted to deal with some of the HVAC issues, air quality issues in some of them. So what we did was we put a public statement out asking for qualifications. And we had 5 companies send us letters of interest. And then the deadline was August 31st. And we ended up with one actual real full packet that was presented to us. We went through the process with them as if we had 10 people, and they came in and did an overview for us today about why they would be a good company for work with us on implementing the necessary upgrades in our buildings, the middle school, so the middle school has this, right? And we had they had no idea that there was, it was just them, so they went through the whole process, which was great. Kate was there, and Audra and I, we said Kevin as a committee, and we asked him quite a few questions about the whole process. And we're gonna just reference checks before we issue anything, but just wanted you guys to know about the process. And the goal for this would be they would start developing all of the plans for the renovations that are necessary and upgrades, and that will happen over the summer of 23. Yeah, that's actually, that's part of it, yeah. Yeah, that's part of it, and that was a specific question about like, once you lock in, what happens with it, like if it goes up, there's no, like, there's no words such as change order.
And
Which
this
is
is gonna be paid for on a
asset funds.
And that was something any other firms didn't end up putting a bid in?
I think that this is, it's hot right now. There's a lot of ESSER funds out there. A lot of big companies working all around us. This particular group does they work with over half of the school districts in the state. So, an upgrade reference, like we've already talked to some ahead of it, but, so I think that it's really just about capacity to be able to do it. The firms that did reach out to just share with us that they might be interested were not, these guys they're basically it's an overall company, and then they have subs already on board, subcontractors who've actually done work in our district and in surrounding districts. So they put it together in a pretty kind of a unique package. And I don't think everybody has that kind of capability. And there's a lot of also potential for rebates from efficiency gain kind of work. So and so there's a timeline that needs to get rolling. And I think capacity for moving that quickly is also a concern to others. They just. And we'll have, once we make the reference calls again to finalize, we'll talk about contracts and then they're happy to come to the board and talk with you about it. They said they'd be willing to just do updates whenever you needed it or wanted it.
Some employment updates.
We are.
We don't have it.
Oh, no, I
We still need excellent drivers, but.
And we still need a red text, so I mean, nobody's resigning.
That's fair.
So that's what I mean by all.
We're
sides.
down to the night after the first day.
So we are still interviewing a couple of positions, and then we do have some, as we talked about last week, some community members that are moving forward to study for the CPF.
been a long time since we've done.
I know.
So moving along to other.
Okay, so my other, came in this afternoon, and it is a donation, and it's, I would just like to read you the email that came in, if that's okay. I took time to do that, so I would like to honor that. So hello, my name is Heather Marie Brown. I recently held a fundraiser, hopes of raising money for Lebanon, Maine Elementary School Music and Arts Program. Fundraiser was held over the past 2 weekends at 2 different events: a higher education music and art festival and the 4x4 mud runs that happened within Lebanon. I worked very hard over the last few months collecting prize donations, not only for the all over the United States. I also went and spoke to the select board and contacted the state of Maine to make sure I was doing everything. I had also reached out to the elementary school and spoke to someone that didn't realize that I needed to contact them. So I did this once I found out. The original plan was to hold a fundraiser during an event focused on music and art, but due to absolutely horrible weather and a few other logistical issues, I had only a few hours on that Sunday to do fundraising, and that I felt it wasn't enough. So after communicating with the owners of the proving grounds right there, it's decided that the best thing I could do in order to raise the most amount of money was to come to their event the following weekend to finish out the fundraiser. I kept it updated every step of the way using social media. The fundraiser collected donations through several methods: a raffle for prizes, 50 raffle and cash donations. I'm proud to say that between the 2 events, I was able to raise $1,600. $500 the first event, $100 cash dropped off at my house, and $1,000 in the second event. The intent of the money is to be split equally between Lebanon, Maine elementary school music and art programs. That's $800 to each program. I truly hope the teachers will be excited. Wonderful. Study after study shows that children exposed to music and arts benefit through assistance with memory, language, and creativity, all areas of extreme importance for a developing brain. I hope everyone can recognize how much effort I have put into this project and truly know how much community involvement to it as well. I'm forever grateful for this opportunity and the kindness shown to both event owners in regards to giving me the space to achieve this goal. I also truly appreciate the local and national businesses that stepped up to the challenge and provided raffle prizes. To me, this is a prime example of how we can come together for the greater good. Thank you for your time.
Well, very.
So they can, those teachers can, see this.
So we do need a motion to accept.
I'll make a motion to accept the generous donation.
Second. All those in favor? Motion is passed.
Sound real thing. You wanna know?
You bet.
Yeah, that would be wonderful.
That's really. Yes, you do, she does.
Aggressive. It could have was anything.
Heather Brown?
Yeah.
Is she a young person wants to have students itself? Or if you
From-
I was gonna ask the same thing. I figured you guys would have said she was students though, right?
let me think. Would it be appropriate to invite her to our upcoming board meeting so that we can present her with a thank you? Would you like to do that?
It's about 3 months, I might have time to pick it up.
All right, I'll volunteer to make this one. Well, it might not be as pretty as yours, but I'll do it. So we'll be fine.
So we can reach out.
What?
That's all I have.
Looks like she.
I know of you.
Yes, actually. Yeah, she is in her, I would bring those.
You
Yeah,
know,
she-
yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think her daughter was right backstage. Yeah, I think graduated last year, maybe.
You had an email that you sent out to the team about how we present ourselves to the community.
Yeah,
because under the law, once we're elected, we represent the whole district in that particular town of Concom. I think we need to be careful and reduce ourselves or when we risk ourselves, to do it by channel. And also not to use the word representative, because I already have so much misperception out there about parents thinking we represent them if they voted for us, and that's not the way the school board works. So it's nice to have the word representative. I would just say, though, like if somebody's trying to contact somebody, they, like, it's a problem with cancer school, let's say they're gonna wanna talk to whoever's about it. Because people are going through it. That's expected. That's the only, take from the town.
Yeah, I agree that like member is probably the correct member of the board, but maybe then from whatever town you're in.
It's not our job to be their contact. They should be contacting the school, not us.
Well, yes, true, and that's, every time I get one of those, I say, contact the school first, and
But we're not a liaison between, on our town recruiting. It's not our job of the board.
It's not a liaison, but I like to be
yeah.
a point of contact, but then to go to the right channels, but.
Oh, I see. I went on to Marshwood, so the growth another town that has this. So I went to Marshwood. They have bios on their website and like, so it's a picture of each person and basically their bio and it has, a range of information depending on who it is. Most at the end say like, and lives in, Elliott with. Not all of them do, so you can kind of pick, but it seems like it wasn't a required thing, that it was included in most. I didn't work around that, but it was also nice because I could see that they were how they're involved in the community, that they had, I don't know, something on top of it, but that was interesting. It was a different way than just listening to the name.
I was just saying, okay, seven things
I
out
don't know what your overall plans are, but it was a little more attractive, I guess. And it did not separate it at all by their town, but it did, a few of them did list where they lived, yeah.
I think it's a variety of ways to be looked at, maybe, I think this is probably more than a 4-minute conversation, like to really think about how we're going to do it. I think a Stack's goal is to highlight the board this month, so this might be a good time for us to sort of process through this. I'm looking at 57 right now, which has 18 board members.
Yeah, Lord.
And 6 towns, and they list it by town, but again, there is that piece of like, there is that piece about, is it, do I call Lynn or do I call Victoria about a situation that's happening in Oakbrook Elementary School, whether or not it's the right process, it's still the question of how do I help? What's the easiest way to help our citizens find the right
Because I don't wanna
connection?
say, oh, I can't answer this question. I wanna. I just want to be able to say, oh, I can help you, we need to do this.
I think it's a philosophical sort of conversation, which is not bad.
It must be tough to facilitate a discussion.
Yeah, I do know that, well, the other part is that,
Wait, what town is
again,
that?
this is 57, so there's 6 towns represented. The other part that's really hard, in our district, we are very clear, everybody has equal vote. In 57, some people's votes are more weighted than others. So.
For the size of the community.
Yes, so we have a much more equal. Thing. I had to think about it. It could be. So I would say let's chew on it a little bit. Think about it for a more of a conversation. We could maybe come up, put a stack there on the spot to say, how do you wanna share information about it?
I don't really feel the need to put a lot of personal information out there.
I think it's a conversation. I mean, I wouldn't want, there's only so much that we want, right?
I don't want to make
Fine,
it
wait,
easy for somebody to sign like.
It's not fair. All of us.
Fair.
It has happened.
something else for other, did you guys have a chance to do anything with athletics yet? Or remember the one page that would have things listed out for regardless of school, but it would have the different sports and the contact.
We're still working on all
Okay.
that page.
I just want to make sure, 'cause it's been awesome, or, you know,
Yep.
I forgot two things,
We
so.
do have, community members are calling the schools to resort spaces, so I don't think it's been a hindrance, I know it'll be easier once it's on the webpage, but it's something that's, I know it's.
Are you talking about for outside groups?
I'm actually talking about both, and that's what I was gonna make sure that you understood, because I wanted something for if somebody wants to rent it, as she's saying, but I'm talking about something in Lebanon, because I do get questions about, oh, what sport's going on next? Just a place to go to say, this is who you contact for the town if you wanna get your kid involved in these sports. And even for people who are new to town, actually, in ours, it's hard sometimes hearing when the dates are to go sign up.
Is that for the upper kid, are you talking about rec department?
No, I'm talking about, well, actually, I guess I'm talking.
Yeah, because rec
Lebanon,
is
yeah.
K to 5, K to 6, K to 5 rec is their sports stuff, which is different than the like Northbrook does their thing.
I actually will, can we get them on our athletic site? Okay,
Or our district site, it may
Or
be
the-
easier to the district site.
that would be good, yeah.
Easier, yeah.
Yeah, that would help out with
Do
it.
we have a, do we have a Lebanon rec person to get the
Well,
rec?
I
one?
would have to.
Georgiana Allen is the one who does soccer.
We don't have a rec, I think.
I don't think rec, I don't think
Oh,
we have the
no.
rec stuff under the district.
And I was gonna say that.
That would be the towns, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But maybe we can, yeah, what's part of your start, but what's part of your scope that you're thinking was to like share even the tech stuff that they say that doing, like just kind of sharing a lot of stuff between with the little groups.
I think, considering it's still navigating those boundaries between, how much the school communicates on behalf of the community versus just finding a way to show what the links are to where those links are. Or-
Like, that's more how I.
Yeah, me too.
I think, I think like,
It just gets muddled and I think if it's.
So it does, but it's, as a parent of littles, it is super challenging and like, I didn't know that I could sign my North Berwick that was up for Berwick rec and I didn't know if we don't have basketball in North Berwick that I think Berwick does, but like, I don't see anything to get those things.
And
So-
ultimately, it's in our best interest to promote the rec programs because it does actually build the programs for the middle school and high school. So I think we just need to, like, we haven't done that before, so we just need to navigate it a little bit and give it some time, we'll try to figure it out.
It's the same thing we had in London too, when my kids came. But what they were interested in is, they didn't pronounce it the school, but
Yeah.
doesn't the same thing, so we were like, oh, what the heck about that? So we do it, like they just.
Yeah.
As
So
a whole for using the whole center as a. So that's part of what.
Yeah. Northbrook and Berwick are pretty solid, it's, Lebanon is just set up with that, in terms of the way that programs work. That's an assignment, we will work on. If I now that you're there, it's there.
I know, yeah, I mentioned it a couple times.
Yeah,
And our webpage and stuff,
yes.
more about that.
I think I was on a different path though, too, I was thinking about building this.
I
which is
kind
on
of
the same-
three ideas, and I'm not always, my mind is very clear, but I don't output exact words in there, so you probably just call me. But on the piggybacking end of that, I did hear, and this was a problem they said in the past, it hasn't started out or anything. Last year, I thought we had a discussion that we could send paperwork home if it was from the rec or from somebody in town regarding a sport. I just kind of want to get clarity on that because, talking to somebody a few weeks ago, they said, no, we still can't send our stuff out.
Yeah, I heard it had to be approved. It used to be, it had
I
to
was
be
gonna say,
approved by the
This
superintendent.
has been, since I've been in the district, this has been like an issue.
Yeah.
Okay,
So-
so another
so-
future thing we're gonna figure out.
Right, and I think, how do you wanna figure, I'm fine saying how do you wanna figure that out? What we've done in the past,
This might be a policy committee question, to be honest with you, because I think that, I think you guys as a policy committee need to sit down and think about what information is okay to be going through the school system and what information are we gonna say, no, that's not appropriate, because there's lots and lots of clubs that would love to be able to send.
So I think you're
And
opening
the school
some doors
secretary,
to
I
wide
think, gets
open.
overwhelmed by
Yeah.
stuffing all those.
So I do think that there's some things that we have approved and sent through, and I think that, sorry guys, I think the policy committee should talk about it and say, this is what we think is appropriate, and because then we're gonna just have to have a pretty hard line with it.
Yeah, I feel like the towns really are the ones that need to step up and do a better job coordinating on this stuff, but, you know, I agree that once you start opening a door for stuff to get sent home, you either have to be super duper clear on what can and why others can't, and otherwise you're gonna end up with a lot of.
Why you let go of this go? Why
Well,
you
and
let
right,
this go?
and we need to be like, I've just been working really hard on consistency across all of the towns, so we need to be very clear for our buildings. It's okay to send this, or it's not, and I think that's gonna take us more than a week.
What if even on like the newsletter, the awesome newsletter that just went out last week, like even a link on that, yeah, it was a great job. Everyone's involved. Great job. Even on that, like setting a deadline for the communities, just putting it up to, you know, the Rex, whoever, like, and setting a deadline of if you had, so next coming this winter, like, if you have a winter sport club, et cetera, please get it into us by this date. And then in that newsletter, like, to see all upcoming, you know, clubs, sports, all the things in the district, like, click here, there's just a link that like people go and then, you know, there's a direct, like, just in, you know, this basketball, click here, like whatever it is, like, and then it's not spitting stuff out there to schools, it's like very accessible. And I went to people in Facebook groups asking about like, oh, I didn't know that, like, you know, it's a link, just like, here's everything.
We can talk about that, it's more than, it's bigger than what it sounds like, so I just wanna be sure that I'm not asking East Stockbridge to run the PR for the rest of the world.
Yeah.
We wanna make the PR for us.
Yeah.
And that's okay, I totally get it, but I think about like if we can get ourselves under control, then I think we can reach and give a little bit more. Is that fair?
Yes, I think that we need to be careful about what we're taking on as a board, and what we're asking you guys to take on, you know, because those are, there's obviously a benefit to having those kids be enrolled in those programs, but, you know, for anybody that's ever tried to manage even like a page of links that depend on other people, it can be a nightmare. So I think, I feel like the first thing that needs to happen is kind of go back to the town and say, look, huge demand, you could be bringing more people in, but you gotta either work together or up the communication.
Has towns to put it on their website?
Yeah.
So that the towns actually,
Right.
I mean, that's really the first.
That is, I feel like that shouldn't happen.
That's what you're doing. And we can, like, I have no problem reaching out to, Angela, who's in Berwick, and, Kayla in Northport. I have to catch up with who's actually running Lebanon right now. Yeah, so we can put a note out that just says, hey, this has been coming up as a question for us, could you guys get together and make play? Yeah, how you wanna get that?
I feel like you guys have very.
But I would,
I have one other question on the sports thing from last spring. That we gotta do an update on the required equipment for each sport, because it was, I remember, lacrosse helmets, I think, was in the spring. That
People had to buy.
had to buy their
But
own.
like football didn't have to buy their own, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, so
So you,
in all
The
their spare
rotation,
time,
the
the athletics
rotation.
department.
so just the rotation and or the consistency of, if you're
One
requesting
sport has to buy this, but the other sport doesn't.
We already talked about the policy at the beginning, the special education one. I was just thinking about it a bit more with the amounts of stuff that I was asking for. And just when Denise asked and I responded about the Massachusetts thing, I'm wondering if we might be able to clear it up better by saying, Medicaid, Maine,
That's what I was thinking.
Maine
Yeah, why
pricing,
can't we
or
just
even
say,
Hampshire.
or even, I mean, I'm sure it's the whole state of Maine, but if you could say.
Right.
Maine Medicaid rates.
Yeah, because my authority was like, seriously, you go to
Yeah.
Massachusetts, it's gonna be completely different than ours, so.
We've actually added in county.
Yeah, because that was the only thing I had, but Stephanie, you're right, you can make it more specific and say the Medicaid rates in
Yeah.
the state of Maine, or whatever. If we, and maybe you guys do your little math comparison, and if that is actually true, then that could be a easier way to say.
Yeah, and then we don't have to change it every year.
The consistency about if the sport is asking for families to pay for high school equipment versus budgetary coverage. Right, that's one thing. Then the towns, talking with the towns about the demand for more information about athletics or activities for students and how they help support getting out communication to parents.
And any other. I'm guessing that since we didn't have any input in the beginning, we probably don't have public input now. But thank you very much for sitting here. I'm excited. And, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll second it.
Great. All those in favor? Motion is passed.
7:54, thank you guys.
Oh.